Merry Christmas, Frisky Kwanzaa, or strictly atheistic spanking solstice celebration. It's your best bud, Warhammer Wanker Willie here, praising the Emperor, and today we're gonna help break down the incredible scramble that has been happening ever since Fat Shark released the Trader Curse Anniversary Update. In that update, the veteran got insane talent tree rework that has left players absolutely breathless with the endless options suddenly at their disposal. I've been a veteran main since the beta, and I can barely express just how violently I wet myself with excitement. Now I'm gonna quickly break down the new Keystones and their incredible possibilities to give you exclusive insight into my vast knowledge before I reveal to you which Keystone is the best and how to most effectively exploit its broken buffs. I hope you have your Ritalin ready, because coming in first is Weapon Specialist. This one's a love letter to all you veteran players out there who crave mixing melee and range combat together. You know when you're nailing your perfect horde clear with your melee weapon? Have you ever thought, hey, I should pull out my ranged weapon for absolutely no reason and shoot a random trash mob to not only waste ammo but to open myself up for an attack? Well then, look no further than this Keystone. In conjunction with agile engagement from earlier in the tree, we can get 5 seconds of extra fast, extra powerful melee attacks to cleave through the trash horde that we were already decimating. What's that, you say? You've got a big armored wave coming in? Well, you'd better panic, because these buffs only work if you're continually getting stacks from killing trash mobs. This is the absolute best Keystone for anyone out there who wants to cleave through trash on their roughneck with up to 30% more efficiency, which elevates them to the lofty heights of being half as effective as a level 1 psyker with a flame staff. You'll have to waste your ammo on any garbage enemy, and I'll but guarantee that you won't have the firepower in your clip when you actually need it to save your team from a run-ending specialist wave ambush, and all it requires is for you to constantly be swapping your weapons in and out every 5 seconds like a cocaine addict at his peak. This Keystone has it all. Guaranteed effectiveness when we absolutely don't need it, and an obnoxious amount of key spamming to make sure that your fingers are uncomfortable and your brain is fried by the end of each and every match, despite the fact that they all end early as you single-handedly tank every game. Was that one a bit too fast-paced for you? Well then come join us on the short bus for this next incredible Keystone. Coma patients rejoice, it's Focus Target. It even has an exclamation mark on the end just to help keep you awake as you use this incredibly intense Keystone. Just like popular Keystones from other classes, this one will radically change the way you play the game. Now when you take an enemy like you always would, they'll turn gold. That's not all! You know how you want to spam your tag key through obstructions like hordes to spot dangerous threats before they decimate you or an ally? Well, not anymore! Now you're incentivized to hold on to that tag to build up precious stacks so you can kill that mauler half a second faster after he's already turned your zealot into a piece of modern art with an overhead he didn't see coming from an enemy that should have been tagged 10 seconds ago. You'll not only be rewarded with a dead teammate, but depending on how many stacks you've built up waiting, you could get an absolutely insane 1.5% extra damage for every 2 seconds you delay to spot him. That's right, my fellow Darktide gamers. All you have to do is wait for a mere 16 seconds and you and your friends can be the lucky beneficiaries of an extra 12% damage for a full 10 seconds. This Keystone has everything you'll ever need. A disincentive to use the tag ability for its intended purpose of spotting hidden or approaching threats, and massive buffs so game-changing that if it weren't for the gold outline, no one would even notice you were using it. Which brings us right to our final insane Keystone. Remember back before the rework when we had the low profile talent available to us that made us far less likely to be targeted when standing still? Well, I hope you enjoyed that mechanic, because here comes a whole Keystone focus around not going anywhere, except now with the added benefit of not reducing your likelihood to be targeted whatsoever. That's right, in a game focused around mobility, incentivizing you to move through areas as quickly as your team safely can to minimize minimize the number of waves your game's director has time to throw at you, here comes a Keystone that really wants you to stand still, giving you big headshot and crit bonuses for building up stacks by landing headshots while punishing you for moving. But wait! Every time you headshot someone, you can move for free for a second. And every time you headshot kill someone, you can move for free for 3 seconds. So really, if you're just headshotting enemies all the time, you can do whatever. They don't even time out. 5 trash mob headshots are all that stand between you and more than doubling the bonus for every headshot. And I haven't even mentioned crits. So if you're a player who can land headshots and has been decimating your less capable allies and ranged effectiveness before, you can look forward to destroying them so much harder that they might as well not even be playing. And if you're a player who can't consistently land headshots, then this is Fat Shark's way of telling you that you're a prime candidate to play Ogryn. But don't give up yet. Fat Shark has ingeniously woven a 4th secret keystone into the tree that only professionals like me and my team over here in the Dark Tide Dungeons have been able to unravel. A way for you to be an absolute monster without landing even a single headshot. Fat Shark made the existing keystone so restrictive or unlikable that us big brains would naturally seek out alternatives. Before that, however, I will give pointers to people who are me and sometimes want to just headshot people. Think you don't need any tips? Well, okay, you smarmy dipshit. Tell me, what do you think of this talent? Critical hits with las weapons consume no ammo. Ooh, that's tempting, isn't it? Increasing your clip size, extending the time between reloads, letting you spam like crazy. Imagine all the damage you could do. You fool! You fell for the oldest trick in the book. Did you even read the Marksman's Focus Keystone? Ranged finesse power. Do you even know what that means? It's the difference in damage that your weapon does when doing finesse damage versus not. If we look at the torrent gun of the lasgun class and check out its damages, it looks decent at a glance. 59 damage on a body shot to 94 from a headshot, that's almost double. But now let's compare that to the torrent gun of the real man Autogun class and Jesus Christ, it goes from 104 to 270. That's almost triple the damage! And it's that additional 166 damage between those two that gets jacked up by our Marksman's Focus. See? Don't you feel stupid now? To abuse focus, you need that big difference. So you might be thinking, well, we could use the Hellbore lasgun. It's a sniper after all. It might not have the biggest difference in headshot power, but goddamn can it crit. The other category that our range finesse power pumps up. And imagine it with the surgical blessing. 10% crit chance for every 0.3 seconds aiming down the sights. That means after aiming down the sights for 3 seconds, we have a 100% chance to crit with our shot. A 100% chance to not use any ammunition. Imagine the possibilities. You fool, you're back to square one. The only person on the team who refuses to move because you don't have the advantage of being able to constantly shoot heads with a rapid fire gun to keep that 1 second of free movement alive. If you don't one-shot kill the guy you target, you've only got a single second to move before you start losing stacks. You miss a single headshot and you have to stay put for 3 seconds. It doesn't even matter if you crit him and killed him. No headshot, no movement immunity. Even if you're a crack shot, never missing and using the standing still focus auto generation, it's still going to take you forever to get to max stacks compared to some hip firing moron who just hoses a trash mob at head height and gets max stacks in the time it takes you to fire a single shot. You'll be standing around arduously nailing out 1 headshot every 3 seconds to finally hit full stacks as your team surges ahead of you and the director opens up the door behind you for a hound, a trapper, 3 rangers, and a flamer. Good luck, idiot! You heard that right. The Keystone you'd think would be handcrafted to solely reward players who go against the grain and are patient, methodical, and accurate is actually best utilized by any rapid-firing idiot who can sometimes hit heads while running and gunning. How'd they fuck that one up? In conclusion, the only lasgun that I can see properly exploiting Marksman's Focus that isn't already a DPS black hole is the heavy las pistol. And the only gunslingers who run into battle with a pistol as their main weapon are steers and queers, and you don't look like no cowboy. But we're not here to discuss Marksman's Focus. Any asshole can make a Marksman's Focus build. We're here to see the hidden 4th Keystone and how to take full advantage of it. But before that, did you know that this video was not sponsored by Audible? Audiobooks can be great for when you're enjoying your commute to school.
You fucking piece of shit!
Or to work.
What the fuck?
Or just taking sweet old game to church.
Whoa! What the fuck? You piece of shit!
You'll even find that most books are specifically designed to be read, with authors having their own grammatical styles, be it the indulgent flourishes of fantasy authors like Tolkien or the staccato rapid-fire sentences of thriller writers like Jack Reacher's Lee Child. Her laugh was great. I wanted to look at her nameplate over her shirt pocket, but I didn't want her to think I was looking at her breasts. I remember them resting on the edge of the table when she took my photograph. I looked. Nice breasts. Her name was Roscoe. Speaking of tits, there's also porn! So much porn! From classics like The Mating Habits of Bigfoot and Why Women Want 'Em, recommended by Denver Riggleman himself, a former esteemed member of the United States House of Representatives. There's also lurid retellings like Magic Academy and The Curse of Insatiable Lust, where one Goodreads user raved. This brings me back to the days of reading Harry Potter in my youth, except now my erection isn't awkward. It's downright encouraged! He gave it one massive thumbs up, at least I hope that was his thumb. Of course, I have no idea what he's talking about because the only Harry Potter I've ever consumed is doing a shitty dub of one of the movies 40 years ago.
We have the opposite effect on little boys. This is kind of... Oh man, you could be like a circus freak or something.
Now, some of you might be confused by the concept of a hidden keystone and might also be confused by this video in general, so let me explain. Fat Shark will often drop cryptic clues toward the most broken builds for dedicated players to unravel. Usually it's a sophisticated cipher in their patch notes, but sometimes, like in this case, it's woven into the talent tree itself. At a glance, it looks like any other tree, but a keen-eyed employee of mine noted something strange. Not that it's locked down harder than the Ogrins, but if you stitch it together with image manipulation software and begin deep frying it, soon, a pattern begins to emerge. A message directly from the developers to us. Do you see it? All of these talents are slightly spicier than the rest, forming a sort of constellation right before our eyes. And if we join them together, bingo! Dino DNA. What are these talents, you ask? Grenade Tinkerer, Twin Blast, Demolition Stockpile, Grenadier, Demolition Team. What I hear you say? Those are just all the grenade talents. You're goddamn right they are. Fuck constantly juggling our weapons like a manic depressive clown. Screw holding back our tanks for anemic buffs while endangering our allies. And fuck locking in our whole build to a tiny roster of guns that properly exploit Marksman's focus, and this is coming from a guy who just about exclusively uses the best gun for the Keystone. Now I can hear you groaning going, yes, yes, we know all about the crack grenade. Fuck the crack. Fuck your crack. Fuck my crack. I'm taking my roughneck in both hands and no one's getting away today without having their crack shredded. That's right, we're going balls deep with the shredder grenade. Don't get me wrong, it's always fun to do a little crack. I mean, how do you think I keep up my enthusiasm for these videos? And I've certainly been known to run on those melee-only Maelstrom gauntlets, even though they sometimes do this amazing thing where they just disappear and kill no one for some reason. But let me present you with a scenario. If you're like most players, you've lost a game or two, and a lot of them have probably ended in similar ways. Now, as self-improving people, we look back on the loss to dissect what went wrong. We break down what we were up against. Maybe 20, 30, 40 trash mobs, a dozen armored ones, maybe a couple of specialists and some rangers or shotgunners. But what we really remember are the big bads who killed us, the 5 maulers, the trio of crushers, the monstrosity! Because we were handling the rest of the horde just fine before they showed up. So we go back and refine our build, thinking that we just really need to have something powerful enough to instantly kill those morbidly obese threats. So you reach into your pants and show everyone your crack. Maybe you get lucky and nail most of the maulers. The next manages to nab 2 of the 3 crushers. The last one is eaten whole by the abhorrent repulsive beast that does a quarter of its enormous diabetic health. Lucky all around. But what happens if we just throw a couple of shredders in? Only the toughest specialists are still alive. Maulers lose half their health. Crushers shrug off the damage, but they're also staggered and defenseless. Suddenly, a massive fight is so much more manageable. Your enemies weakened and reeling with all that space previously occupied by trash now empty for us to safely use to maneuver and dodge. And you've got 2 more in your back pocket. Not to mention reviving. When you go down, who do you want to save you? The natural choice is, of course, the meta guy running invisibility. That way they can pick you up while you're still surrounded by enemies halfway through their swing so you can instantly die again. But in a close second comes someone who can stagger everyone and then pick you up. A bull rushing Ogren, a zealot praising the Emperor, a veteran shouting at our body. And for us it's as easy as dropping a grenade on top of our downed ally. The blast kills some and staggers the rest as we help them up with ease. We are the savior of the team. We have ascended to the lofty status of Jesus Christ, or whoever Kwanzaa worships. Batman. So we head toward our shredder through the left side as, like most veterans, I'm relying on my ranged weapon for dealing with just about every threat, though we'll revisit this part of the tree later. We grab exhilarating takedowns so we can reliably get our toughness back just for popping heads. Then we need to branch to the side to grab Grenade Tinkerer, which leaves us easy options of the damage or ammunition auras. Since we're focusing on our ranged weapon, it's an obvious choice to go through ammo. I have no idea how useful it might be for people on the lower difficulties since I don't play anything lower than Auric Damnation, but up here we kill elites and specials by the hundreds and we usually blow through a whole lot of ammunition to do it. And not just because we have to, because we can. You're inevitably going to have player after player on your team who is more effective with their ranged weapon but defaults to their melee since ammunition is typically scarce. And inevitably, you're going to lose a run because they conserve their ammo on an innocuous first wave before anyone realizes that it's the beginning of the domino of the horde that's going to cut their run short. Running an ammo aura makes those allies more liberal with their power weapon and will end up saving your team more times than you'll ever know. Of course, if you predominantly want to go melee, then the damage aura is a better choice, and is another thing we'll revisit later. Then we nab more of those golden grenade talents that bring us straight across the entire tree through two very nice connectors, toughness damage reduction and critical hit chance. And we're left with the easy choice of what might be the best ability in the entire game, even after Fat Shark hurled nerfs at it. That's right, it's our signature veteran shriek of absolute horrified panic with a side of ranch overshield. Now you might be thinking, but wait dumbass, isn't invisibility an insanely meta pick right now? And you'd be right, a little too meta. And by that I mean, it's great to have someone on the team who can phase out of existence and blast through objectives, or a zealot who can do 30,000 damage in one hit with a hammer. But you know what's not great? When half your team or more all having to do it at the same time in response to a big horde, leaving your psyker to suddenly take 100% of the aggro and instantly die because no one plays Ogren. If you somehow queue into a game without an invisibility player, you can easily swap into a preset with it, but by and large, we're here to beat Jesus. There in the flesh, ready to save everyone. Not some invisible being you simply have to have faith in. That'd be fucking stupid. For this final part of the tree, if you're someone like me, at the time of recording, you're only just seeing it for the first time because a patch came out this fucking morning and now you have to rethink your build. First, we branch over here since we're relying on our ranged weapon and grab a few key talents. Our weak spot damage if you can aim, our suppression immunity so we're not whiffing all our bullets, and our big ammo bonus. But here comes the best branch in the game. Born Leader or For the Emperor are both strong choices, but I'd highly recommend the latter if you're stepping into any Auric game because of our very next talent, Tactical Awareness. Fat Shark made a great change in having this now be an automatic talent when going down the tree because only an insane person would choose something else over it. With the massive amount of specialists that are thrown at you in Auric, our ability will be coming off cooldown at a rapid fire pace. 5 specialists are all that stand between you and instantly resetting the cooldown on your shout, all but guaranteeing that you will maintain the overshield on yourself and your allies while being able to instantly break things like mutant tackles, hound pins, and when that one bulbous nurgly monstrosity picks up one of your teammates and tries to consume them whole. It's so easy to reset that you'll find yourself using it just to interrupt the overhead attacks of crushers to save allies or make your follow-up headshot that much easier. Which brings us to the best grenade talent in the tree and the one that makes our build function so incredibly well, Demolition Team. You are going to get so many grenades from this talent that it is unbelievable. This paired with your automatic replenishment from Demolition Stockpile means that you are always going to have grenades available when you need them the most. Now, before I go any further, let me present you with a scenario. You're running a gun that can't effectively deal with carapace, which is, well, just about all of them. So you're relying on your melee weapon to target down the biggest enemies. The problem? Well, even with all the staggers available to you from your grenades and your shout, sometimes you're just going to make a mistake. You see that crusher there? Get ready to piss your pants because he's about to hit you with an overhead. You're about to take the biggest hit in the game. Flattened out like that poor zealot, a puddle on the ground, a burden to your team, the first domino in a collapse that will end your run. You are about to shit the bed. Or you'll take that overhead like it's fucking nothing because you picked up Iron Will.
Are you not entertained?
50% reduced toughness damage if above 75% toughness. And you know who's above 75% toughness? Veterans who are constantly shouting and giving themselves overshield. And now we've got 3 talent points to cater to the way we want to play. Want to make that Iron Will go as far as possible? Pick up the massive plus 25 toughness talent right below it and scroll up to the start of the tree to grab Close Order Drill and make our toughness damage reduction production scale to insane heights. On top of that, you can grab Leave No One Behind to be an extra effective Jesus or one of the few readily accessible damage nodes. Bring It Down, Rending Strikes, or Superiority Complex, where, depending on your weapon choices, you'll probably settle on the latter. Or you could use those 3 talents to enable a Shock Trooper build, grabbing it and opening salvo to maximize your crit chance, and possibly Deadshot as well, depending on your stamina and the rate of fire of your chosen gun to have every crit talent in the tree. Or you could barrel straight through Superiority Complex, grab a less impressive but certainly useful 10% toughness damage reduction, and get focus going to maximize your headshot potential. Cater to the way you want to play. Adapt to the role you envision yourself filling on the team. Playing with a friend strapped tight in a diaper is going to be annihilating every carapace armored enemy? Then you don't need to worry about maximizing your toughness since you won't have to engage in melee at all. The key is that, no matter what, you are an absolute grenade hurling chuckle fucker who has the capacity to save any run from any wave. Keep them in your back pocket against pure trash hordes that your team can cleave through easily and can't be used to replace your grenades, and instead be ready to toss them at any elite mobs that join the fray. Use them to create space, to save allies, and to wipe the battlefield of every lesser threat. As for weapons, the world is your oyster! A Hellborn sniper rifle with shock trooper and surgical for free crits, a plasma gun to plow through big enemies paired with a reliable melee weapon to cleave through trash. Or, like me, you can grab a Columnus Mark 5 infantry autogun and bullet hose your way through just about anything and pair it with a melee weapon to deal with carapace after your grenade goes off and staggers them helplessly. The obvious choice for that would be something like the Mark 3 power sword with the power cycler blessing, get 2 energized headshots in with every activation. But they did add a shovel with a pickaxe activation. I am very much enjoying it in its place. Not only does it do superior DPS to crushers, but it staggers with every heavy attack. Too bad it does about 0 damage to trash mobs. Either way, both of them synergize with our build as we have a perfect opportunity to activate our weapons before our grenade goes off and staggers our deadly targets. Of course, if you really like melee, you can drop the range talents altogether. We can go through those awesome toughness talents at the start, unless you really want that sprinting talent and movement speed, so you can race a speedster zealot at the start of the game to see who can throw the game the fastest. Then we'll veer off momentarily to get those shredders and then back through the center with our grenade talent and damage aura. No ammo required. Then the 3 grenade talents, a choice between invisibility and the best ability in the game, then straight down to the final grenade talent. From there, it's easy enough to split off into the melee branch and pick up whatever best maximizes the damage of your chosen melee weapon. Bridging the gap to engage them, especially in Orc where they can throw wave after wave of gunners at you, can prove incredibly difficult to deal with even with our massive toughness, mitigation, and panic shouting. This is mainly because you're probably taking advantage of the fact that you're relying on your melee weapon and equipping a cannon in your range slot like the revolver or the plasma gun. So a build like this greatly benefits from queuing with a friend who can protect you, like a psyker with Telekine shield or a veteran using a gun that can reliably pick off range threats with ease. Though the payoff of going this build for melee is pretty exceptional. Having the option at all times to dash back and drop a staggering, trash-clearing nade at our feet is extremely useful. Having a reset key in both your ability and the stack of grenades in your pocket means that you can really throw yourself at the horde with confidence. What I really want to stress with this build is that the veteran weapons are fucking amazing. While it would be nice to have some fun, creative, and effective ways to make our builds unique, we certainly don't need to be manically juggling to get temporary buffs or trash kills or standing still to maximize headshot damage with precision weapons while bullet hoses get a free pass. The weapons are so effective at wiping out every enemy in the game that the run-saving grenades are, in my less than humble opinion, the best way to go. Use them to wipe out trash, stagger bigger threats, and save your allies. The moment one of your teammates bends over and assumes the position, you can be there to explode all over them, burst on their face, erupt on their back, discharge into their crack of flesh. Everyone will love you. People will praise your name after every game for how many times you exploded all over them. They'll be begging for more, and that's a Warhammer Wanker Willie big gay guarantee.
Hello, class. I forgot how to do this voice. But fuck it.
Well, that's about all for me, fellow gamers. Bidding a Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa, and oh shit, I forgot about wishing you a holly jolly Hanukkah. Praise be to Santa. No, not Santa. Praise be to Batman.